So welcome to Christmas Eve, everybody. Is everyone excited? Yeah?
Christmas tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a magical time. We're nearly there, aren't we? Christmas Day is nearly upon us. I think Christmas Eve is full of such wonderful traditions. You know, some families open one present each on a Christmas Eve. Some people go to the pub on Christmas Eve. Maybe some of you might be on your way there after this.
No, I'm going to Brooklyn.
You're not.
I'm having 7 pies.
Some come to a carol service in church, like you good people. I guess we'll all be leaving out a mince pie and a shot of something strong for the big man tonight. Is that right? Yeah? My mum always used to buy me a new pair of pajamas each Christmas Eve. So you guys have been talking to each other a little bit. So let's get to know each other a little bit more. Why don't you share with the person sat next to you a Christmas tradition that you do each year that sums up this day for you? Go on, talk to each other. All right, people. All right, you've all been sharing good stuff. All exciting things, everything that sums up Christmas Eve for you. Exciting? Yeah. You know, it got me thinking about all the Christmas Eves that have been held in this church. You know, parts of this church building date back to 1154. So that means that some of the stones at the back have been there for 870 years. That's going all the way back to the Middle Ages. I wonder what the good people of Calverley were doing in this church in the 12th century. What do you think they were doing?
Digging up, like, sprouts and stuff.
Yeah, maybe they were digging up sprouts. They might have been getting new pajamas. They might have been getting new pajamas. Yeah. Baking cookies. Now, thinking about this got me wondering. So I did a little bit of research. And it turns out that those people all those years ago would have probably been in church performing a play. And that's the interesting thing, because this tradition we learn where the Christmas tree actually comes from. So buckle up, people. You're going to learn something. Because all those years ago, in the middle of the church would have stood a gigantic fir tree. And it would have been dressed up in such a way that they would have called it the paradise tree. And around the paradise tree, they would perform what they called the paradise play. Now, I know some of you will be thinking, I know where Christmas trees come from. Prince Albert introduced them with Queen Victoria, right? That was in the 1840s. But let me tell you, that is complete baubles, right? Prince Albert might have popularized the Christmas tree, making it the sort of ultimate middle-class thing that everyone needed for their Christmas. But the roots of the Christmas tree, no pun intended, go back far further than that. They stretch back to the paradise tree. To the paradise tree that might have stood in the center of this church all those hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Decorated as it would have been with apples and wafers. And the paradise play, which the good people of Calverley performed all those years ago, year on year, retold one of the earliest Bible stories. The paradise play was the story of Adam and Eve performed. So get that. When you're putting up your Christmas tree each year, you are giving your own little individual nod to the story of Adam and Eve. I bet you never realized that, did you? There you go. Now, I suspect most of us know the story of Adam and Eve. I mean, it's the story of God creating the universe, creating the whole world, creating animals, and there at the heart of this creation was humanity in the form of Adam and Eve. And they lived in this beautiful garden called Eden. And at the center of the garden was a beautiful tree, the tree of life, the paradise tree. So, cutting a long story short, there was a massive misunderstanding. There was something involving an apple and a snake, and some simple instructions were misunderstood, and Adam and Eve were cast out of the Garden of Eden to go their own separate ways, separated from God. Now, you might be sat there thinking, I'm not commemorating Adam and Eve when I put up my Christmas tree. I mean, that old story, that's a complete load of baubles, isn't it? But that's the thing about these ancient stories. It's not whether we take them literally or not. I don't think the good people of Calverley 800 years ago were stood here thinking that talking snakes were a thing. They valued these stories because it told them something about what it means to be human. These stories tell us something about the sense that we all share, that there is a place of belonging for all of us, a place of comfort, a paradise that feels so close but remains somehow out of reach. So why remember the story of Adam and Eve on Christmas Eve of all times, this story about the separation of humanity from God? Because the next day, Christmas Day, is the flip side of that story. It's about our reunion with God. It's about when that relationship between humanity and God is restored. That is the magic of Christmas. When God came to live among us as a baby, that separation between humanity and God that started with Adam and Eve is healed. When God took that step towards us, when God became human, God gave humanity an opportunity to grow to be a little bit more like God. Amongst all these traditions, all these Christmas Eves that have been celebrated here for 870 years, all these traditions hidden by the mince pies and the tinsel, that's the basic truth each year. That our humanity is good and valuable. And it invites us into the mystery of God year on year. At Christmas time, that mystery becomes a little easier to understand. And the noise and the busyness of our year just recedes just for a little brief period. That is the magic of Christmas. And that, my friends, I can say with absolute confidence, is not complete baubles.